It's AI time. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tara, you've been learning PowerShell and it's been awesome. There's a lot to that. You're using AI to help you. That's awesome. I see a lot of people who aren't learning PowerShell who are just getting things from AI. And I wanted to take this week to kind of check out what is the best AI to use. And in doing that, we might have ran into a couple of other things along the way. Just to give some context, everybody, we are doing a little challenge here. I gave 3 different AI models a prompt, just one prompt, and I took the output and reviewed it to notice some differences between them. And the prompt was, write a PowerShell script to get installed software and export to CSV. The script should be readable and follow best practices. That's all I said.
That's a pretty simplified prompt.
It is. It could introduce some issues. That's why I chose it, because there's things like Win32 product that could potentially cause issues if it used it. So I wanted to see what it would do. And we did see what it would do. I think you have, oh my goodness, lovely, lovely. Let me get this bigger on my end. Glorious. Okay, so we have 3 different scripts that we created here. ChatGPT 5.2 thinking. I went thinking mode because 5.2 regular, from what I've seen, it ain't the best. Okay, they're struggling out there. Then we got Gemini, which I believe I did Gemini Pro on that. I have 1 query for Gemini Pro, and it's right there. And then Claude Sonnet 4.1. Okay, I think we should start. Claude Sonnet's a great one to start at. I like, there's some help here. That's really cool. That's one great use of AI. I like the example.
Some help.
People know how to do it. Some help. It might be a little over, but go to the notes real quick. It's making things up. The author is IT administrator right there at the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just making things up. Who's the IT administrator? I don't know. It's me, I guess. I got to change the name. But okay, not bad. Looks like we got some stuff. Commandlet binding. I like to see it. The parameters, that's kind of cool, right? Makes things adaptable a little bit. It's doing a normal thing. It's querying the registry, a bunch of different values, looping through, doing some extra stuff, going a little bit above and beyond there.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, exactly. What are we
151 lines later?
Yeah. This is kind of where it starts to introduce that thing of like, if we're not learning PowerShell and we're reading this, well, I'll tell you what, I do know PowerShell and I'm already struggling a little bit to follow along. I mean, I've spent a lot of time with PowerShell, but if you hadn't, this looks super confusing. I mean, Tara, you're in the process of learning PowerShell. Yep. When you see this, like, how's it reading to you?
Well, it's really messy. I just saw one line that I read that says find an object where the size is greater than 0, but it had a lot of extra stuff in there kind of muddying it up. So it was a little hard for me to understand.
It's hard for me to understand as well. Let's see if it works though, because that's ultimately what matters at the end. Does it work? So at the bottom, Brock, ampersand, and then period / whatever this file is. Okay.
Ooh, we got some red.
Why is it erroring? What's it mad at, Andrew?
It's talking about a property that doesn't exist. I think it probably tried to grab too much information and then make a custom object kind of thing after it when it didn't have it. It didn't validate. It went above and beyond and it confused itself because it was overly complex, essentially. Because what we're trying to do, we're trying to query the registry and that's display that basically.
I mean, yeah, look at this. Display top 10 applications by size, display summary. You didn't ask for any of that.
No.
Crazy.
Not great. Not great. So that's, it looks cool on paper. If someone were to show me this script and say, hey, I wrote this, I'd be like, whoa, wow, you know what you're doing there. But if it doesn't work, does it matter whatsoever?
No.
Let's check out ChatGPT 5.2 as the next one, if we could. Okay, we got some help. Does anyone actually read all that? I think almost no one does these days, but it is there. In case you want to see how it works, should be mostly understandable. Okay, some parameters. I do like parameters. Not bad. Does some other stuff. It sets the error action preference in strict mode. Okay. I'm not opposed to that. It has a function within it, which is just, to me, a little over the top for a simple script.
Yeah.
You're introducing new concepts. You're calling the function one time. I get it. Don't necessarily love it. This kind of looks like the other one in some ways, the way the pipeline is at the end, but a little bit less lines overall, a little bit less complex.
Looks like we closed the function there.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, that's why it's a little ugly.
Yeah, even this, if you're coming at this from a beginner's perspective. If you're like a beginner in PowerShell and you ask, hey, write this for me, I need to do this thing, right? You're expecting like simple, like what's the minimum lines to get this thing done? And all of a sudden this spits out, you're like, really? This might even turn you off PowerShell, or it's like, just to do that simple thing that you're asking, like it required all of this?
Yeah. And how do you troubleshoot this if it goes wrong? Really challenging stuff because you're in so deep. Like we didn't just take a little script that's one line's not working. This is in the middle of a whole bunch of loops and all kinds of things that it's going to be confusing. Let's try see if it works though.
That one exported something.
Yeah,
okay.
we did get a CSV. Was this the CSV that it exported?
Ooh, look at all those programs. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, the data, it's readable.
I'm happy for that. It did not work the first time I tried it, so I'm glad that it's working now.
It fears you.
And it worked yesterday as well. Yeah, something. Well, it knows. I'm onto it. I know what's going on here. I'm okay with that, though. If it works, it works. If we had to change this in the future, you're going to have to call somebody else because whoever used AI to generate this is just going to be a challenge.
Okay.
Let's check out Gemini because Gemini took a different approach. Much different approach. You see this? That's like 10 lines of comments. That's nothing. It basically doesn't even exist. No parameters, right? That's a hard-coded variable right there. If we call the script, we can't change that. We have to edit the script manually by typing it. If it were a parameter, we could do something else. But okay, not the end of the world. Not the most flexible. Define some registry paths, then you loop through it. That's really what we're doing ultimately. Checking registry for certain things.
Like looking for an object, and then it's finding the different properties and stuff.
Yep.
40 lines versus 140?
Wow. You're like, what were those 100 lines for?
Yeah.
Exactly. Fluff. Best practice, I guess. Let's try running this, though, just to make sure that it works, because 41 lines is not so great if it doesn't actually work.
Success. Oh, look at that. Dude, it even hits you up with the success. Been exported.
A cute little message. It's so sweet. It's so nice,
green.
Andrew.
Oh.
It's so green. Oh, my gosh. Where'd we go?
Oh, it goes to that same place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes to the desktop, but I mean, this is going to be a different list.
Yeah. If I got a tip, if you want to see something.
Sure. This should be it, right?
Yeah. Don't open it in that, though.
Oh.
No.
Too late.
Yeah, it's some weird CSV software that we had probably tested for something. If you go down to the bottom though, just real quick, just for anybody out there, if you type in code and then space, and because you see our current location is the desktop, do / and then installed software.csv. Just tab it. Yeah. Boom. And then press enter and it should open up a tab. It's already open here, but if it were not open at the top tab, it would open it there.
There you go.
Cool little tip there. Okay. What does this all mean at the end of the day? Well, what this means, and it's something that we've known, if you are a beginner at PowerShell, be very weary of asking for large things from AI. I highly recommend starting small, testing small. You don't have to understand what every command, well, you should understand generally what they do, but you can start running things. You really should take this opportunity to build the script alongside AI, not just ask for huge tasks, because I feel like you're going to get a lot less success and you won't have actually learned anything at the end of it, which is challenging. And in this time of AI, there is a certain amount of competency that you need to have to be able to wield the tool properly and for it to be a force multiplier for you. So I encourage you, like Tara is, to find your opportunities to learn PowerShell to a certain degree. I'm not saying you have to be able to write that whole thing from scratch yourself. I'm saying we should understand the pipeline, maybe a couple commands, what objects are, and we can kind of decipher and go from there. And AI can then be used to really empower you. And I'm very curious to see, Tara, as you go through your journey, the opportunities that we have to supercharge what you're doing with just a little bit of AI assistance.
Thanks for watching this segment from PDQ Live. If you like this, you'll love the full show. Check it out every Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain. Oh, and like and subscribe, please.